Hello, hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to this episode of Thrive in Business together with Nikki and Ness. Now, this week, we are sharing with you a really valuable resource that we are absolutely pumped to be able to share with you, that we really believe is going to be of huge value for you in your business, in your life. And this is something Ness and I have been working on behind the scenes. So this entire podcast episode is dedicated to telling you about the free mini business health check. It's time to say bye-bye to burnout, people, or bye-bye to being on the way to burnout. And this is going to be a really great way for you to understand, where am I at in terms of, a bit of a scale from being at burnout or on your way to burnout to thriving in business. Ness and I have been doing this for a little while. We've got some insights. Hey, Ness, you're here too.
Hey,
isn't that right?
Hey everyone.
We've been doing this for a little while.
We sure have. And it's very exciting that we are releasing this and spreading this around to everybody who's listening so that you can get some really valuable resource.
Yes. And over our years of doing coaching and business coaching and leadership coaching, not just in our own businesses, but even prior, we've really identified the different habits and patterns that create successful, sustainable businesses for the long term, with the business owner thriving, loving life, loving business. And we've also seen examples of the opposite and the patterns and behaviors that hold us back from achieving that. And all of that has gone into our mini business health check. So for those of you who have been playing along for a little while, you would be aware that we offer full-blown mini health check, business health checks, not mini health checks, for our clients, where we get into your business for 30 days. But this is something you can access immediately. And what we're going to talk about, we're not just talking about the health check today, but we want to share with you why it's so important and why this is going to be a great tool for you to use. So Ness, I think I'm going to hand over to you to share what is the biggest problem that you see for business owners that have a team, that have established success, they've got some runs on the board, probably service-based businesses. What is the biggest challenges that we see? We'll start with the first one.
Yeah, sure. Look, and it's one of three. So this isn't in any order as such. It's just something that we notice, we see the pattern of. And, there's some hints around what's going to come up in what we talk about today if you're a regular listener to the podcast, because we really do cover so much of this. I guess it's the model that we work to through the conversations that we have with our guests and with each other. But the very first starting point that I want us to be thinking about, and our listeners are probably going to relate to, is getting stuck in the busy trap. So what that actually means is, when you feel like you're caught on that mouse wheel, that you're just constantly going, and you get to the end of the day, you're exhausted, but you actually don't know what you've achieved, or you've actually achieved things for everybody else and not yourself. And this is something that we see as a starting point towards burnout, because if we stay on the busy trap and if we don't find a way to break that cycle, then it becomes our norm. And that's not great for our health. It's not great for our business. It's not great for our family and our teams. And there's a way out of that. We really want people to be able to move out of the busy trap and find time freedom. And I love that concept of time freedom, because freedom to me of time means I get to choose what goes in it. And I always choose to put work in it, but I also choose to put so many other things into my time. And I feel I have the freedom to do that when I'm not in the busy trap. So some of the ways that we work with people in relation to helping them move from this busy trap to time freedom is to look at things like, and we've talked about this in other episodes, around setting boundaries. That's really, really important for us to start to break the cycle of being stuck in the busy trap. And I think another two key areas include our mindset. What do we believe to be true about time? And that's just one aspect of mindset, but really challenging those beliefs that we have hung on to forever and ever, probably been taught by other people. And we start thinking we should be doing things in a certain way because we haven't stopped to challenge what it is we're thinking. And the third key in this area to move from this busy trap over to time freedom is to know our internal drivers. What makes us tick? What do we need to do to honor our energy, to be able to identify what comes naturally to us that we could do again and again and again, and that we might have lost sight of? And what doesn't come naturally to us, where we have to put in effort and energy and actually be, I guess, working in an area that perhaps is a stretch or out of our comfort zone. And the way we love doing that with our clients is through extended disc. We are huge fans of that kind of behavioral profiling to better understand ourselves. And once we have those three key areas working, we're setting boundaries, we're checking in, we're shifting mindset, and we understand ourselves, we can start to really break that cycle and be able to find the opportunity to have time freedom. And that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that is really powerful stuff. So I'm hearing in that's the pathway from busy trap to time freedom.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening, well, you are listening. So as you're listening, be thinking, okay, do I need to check in? Is my mindset resourceful or unresourceful around time in this instance? Do I know thyself? And yeah, love that. So I'm going to add to that, because I think, as you said, there's three key areas, challenges that we see in no particular order. And I think what really lends itself nicely from there is this challenge that business owners have, that they're on juggle street. They're juggling all the balls and are all things to all people, even though they have a team. And what we want instead as business owners is to actually have an experience peak performance within the team. So peak performance for your own results, but when your entire team is performing autonomously, is achieving peak performance, it means that you're no longer tethered to your business. And I think about a conversation I had this week with a very senior leader who was absolutely exhausted, first day of holidays, definitely, feeling the struggle, feeling it. And we don't want you to get to the first day of your holidays where you're so exhausted that you just need to sleep for 24 hours. And when we did a process of looking through these key areas, a bit of a traffic light system, which is essentially what the mini business health check is going to give you, it was really evident that even though she was working on and improving on the areas to move towards time freedom, her team was still really reliant on her. And so it didn't matter how much she worked on her mindset, there's systems and structures that need to be put in place for the team to be autonomous, giving them the opportunity to step up. And so in alignment with what Ness is talking about, there's three key areas that will be the pathway for you to move from juggle street to peak performance. And that's really understanding the culture of your business. There's key elements in your culture that have to be in place to create this autonomous, thriving culture and people in the business. In alignment with that, you have to have some clear operating rhythms. Operating rhythms are things like, what's the structure of the team, huddles, catch-ups, meetings, accountability. And then you also have to look at the skills of your people. When you have the combination of all three, your people are skilled to be able to do the work and go above and beyond. They're thriving in a culture that is motivating and inspiring, and there's clarity of expectations through operating rhythms. That is going to allow you to be able to step back from your business, because you can trust that peak performance will happen regardless of you being actually in the business. Guess what? You'll be able to go on a holiday and actually relax and not take your laptop and not feel exhausted. So that's what we want. Now, there is a third problem. Ness, do you want to take us through what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, when we look at it all together, if you are stuck in the busy trap and if you are on joggle street, chances are you're going to be in business chaos. And business chaos is where sometimes really successful businesses that grow quickly, that you start a business on your own, you can't meet the demand, you bring people into your team, and the business just grows and the demand's there, which is amazing for your bottom line result. However, we've grown so quick that our systems don't catch up. And so everything feels chaotic, because often what we see with the clients we work with is that The business owner is working so hard, and yet there's no money in the pocket, or limited money in the pocket. And it feels chaotic. Every day you go to work, it feels like you're just putting out spot fires. You're not actually getting ahead of yourself and starting to map out where you want to go and what you want to do. And in fact, you probably lost sight of what your vision was to start with when you started the business, because you're so busy being reactive. And we know that moving away from that and looking at growth in your business through the lens of smart growth. And there's actually an episode that we recorded on this. In fact, you'll find, as I said before, episodes on pretty much all of them, but there's one specific one in relation to smart growth that you might want to go back and have a listen to. And the key to move from chaos to smart growth, business chaos to smart growth, is to step back and plan. We have to be able to have a system or a process in place that reconnects us to our purpose, that helps us reignite that spark around why we do what we do. How is this tied into my life? How does my business help my life, and vice versa? And then where do I want to go? That whole saying, any road will get you there if you don't know where you're going, by Lewis Carroll, is one of my most favorite quotes to speak about ever, because that's what business can feel like, that you're just going down a path led by others rather than what you choose, what direction you want the business to go in, and what you want to focus on as the business owner. And this is where everything marries together so beautifully, because if your team's performing with peak performance, if you are setting boundaries and really understand yourself and shifting that mindset, you have the time to step back and do the planning. But it's not just about planning. Smart growth is really around sales and making sure that the business is set up to continue to be receiving that or generating that income, and making sure that we're not just thinking we have to do more sales, because that becomes exhausting, right? What are the processes that we have in place around sales? How can you make sure that you're potentially increasing the amount of revenue that comes in, not by chasing more business, but rather understanding your sales process and systems, and making sure that you are getting the most out of all of the opportunities you have with the people that are already working with you. And then, of course, once that's happening, once that money is coming in, my bandwagon is always the profit. A business must be profitable for you to be able to enjoy and reap the benefits of that, not only for your own personal wealth creation or security or whatever comes up for you there, but also to be able to give back. Giving back to the community, giving back by growing the business and helping other people by giving them work and, paying them a salary. So having a turnover of whatever, like $1 million turnover, is not the end game if you only take away $10,000 in profit. It's really about understanding how you can create through smart growth, how you can create profit in that business. And that is way better on any day than being in business chaos.
Absolutely. So I wonder, for those of you that are listening, what do you resonate with? Some of you will resonate with actually all the areas that we talked about. And there's a reason for that. It's because we're not making this up. Again, this is from what we've observed, the clients that we've worked with over a number of years, and what we've experienced in business as well. And this is why we're so dedicated and committed to helping you turn things around, so you can attain that time freedom, you can get peak performance, and you can leverage smart growth in your business. But what we find is that it can be quite overwhelming to know where to start. And sometimes what you think is the case, when you really sit down to marinate on it or have a look at your business, it might actually be that the gaps you thought were in place, there might be more gaps, or they're not quite the same as what you thought. So that, my friends, is why we created the Mini Business Health Check. And this is a simple survey that will take you under 4 minutes to complete. I have got the link. So we always like to finish with one actionable action that you can do in the next 24 hours to help you break the cycle that we've spoken about. And so no surprises, your actionable action today is to do that mini business health check. The link is in the show notes, but survey, you will get results sent immediately to your inbox. You'll also be sent a workbook. So you can actually start to put that score to work and map it out and have a look at, what do I need to acknowledge and celebrate? And what are some of the cycles that I need to break? Ness and I are always here to help you out. We are also your champions in any form, whether that's getting your responses from the podcast, on LinkedIn, DM us, email us. We're all about building this community, and we absolutely adore our clients. We also adore every single one of you that are in our community. So don't be shy, introduce yourself, do the survey. And what's really important is the work that comes after that. Is there any final words, Ness, before we wrap this up and let everybody go and work their magic with the
There's
mini
probably
business health
people
check?
already downloading it and doing it right now.
Absolutely.
I think the key here is, if you can understand where you're at against all of those areas, like you'll have a gut sense that you might be struggling in one, two, or all three. Find out, like, get some clarity around where that is. Take the 4 minutes out to do the survey, understand where you're sitting. And so the workbook's going to help you to identify, what do I do next? How do I move forward with this information? And really, it's all about, let's move away, break the cycle of burnout and move towards thriving. And that's what we want for you. So enjoy. As Nikki said, feel free to reach out if you've got any questions as you go. And we always love helping people to achieve that goal. Thanks so much for listening today, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.